Hello, and welcome to volume 91 of My Prostate is Trying to Kill Me. I'm Mark Graves, just a regular guy battling prostate cancer, and I'm glad to have you along for the ride. Kind of an interesting, this is the second video for the day, kind of interesting one. I was getting a hold of, let's see, who do we have in there? Jack, Tom, Indio, and Brian. And we were all doing a Zoom call to actually set up for a Zoom call tomorrow on Friday, which was going to be our first fiver, all five of us guys at the same time. And then the conversation got interesting. So I went ahead and hit the record button, and that's going to be our video for tonight. So it seems a little choppy when it starts, but it's because we recorded, something we were already talking about. So anyways, thank you very much for being here. As always, if you would, click the like button on the video. You want to subscribe, click the little bell. It'll tell you when new videos are posted up. And if you want to share it, we can do everything we can to help the algorithm and get more guys to be able to find these videos. So with that said, thank you very much, and roll tape. You were talking about a buddy of yours that has colon cancer?
Yeah, so I had a friend come up to my house with a medicine bag on, and while he was out for a walk, and then I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm getting chemo because I had colon cancer and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh wow!" And so, what's the first thing you always want to know is what was the first thing that you noticed? How did you know you had it? Because we're selfish. We all want to know. I want to find out if I have it. So what did you see first? And he told me that, when he went to the bathroom, it was coming out not perfectly round, but more flat, more ribbon shaped as it was coming out. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's kind of, sounds familiar because I'm kind of having the same thing go on, but didn't think a whole lot about it. So my next visit to my doctor, I said, does it mean anything to you that maybe my poop's coming out ribbon shaped and not round? And he goes, yeah, it means you're a tight ass. I said, no. He said, no, that's, you probably need to have that looked at. So he sent me for a colonoscopy, and they found, precancerous polyps. This is age 43 when this happened. So it was kind of early on to be getting a colonoscopy. I think men normally wait till they're age 50. And so they pulled the polyps out, the precancerous polyps. He says, yeah, if you'd have waited till you were 50, that would have been something a lot worse. And then so on top of that, he also started checking the PSA a little earlier. And because we were checking it earlier, we got some good baseline numbers. And what I learned is it's not the number itself, but how fast it goes up. So right. I'm very fortunate that I started checking it early. So, we always want to hear what our friends have going on, and we hear what they're experiencing and related to us. So that's why I think it's great to have this group of people talking about it. It might bring something to light that someone else hasn't even thought of,
Well, and that's the thing when you started to mention that, because that's not a normal conversation you're going to have with somebody.
Right.
You don't come out and say, hey, you know what? My poop looks like the Play-Doh, I'm working on making it star-shaped next week. It's mostly just coming out flat. Yeah, but I had that, and it never even occurred to me because it happened over a period of time. But then it's one of the first things that my oncologist asked me. He says, hey, what's your poop look like? Like, what? And he goes, is it round like it's supposed to be? And I said, nah, it's actually not. And it got so bad that it was actually flat and had a ridge in it. So you could see the shape of the tumor that was in there. It was compressing. And then I learned the difference between the terms invading and, oh crap, what's the other one?
Crap.
Crap. No, I can't. But, because he was saying the tumor gets big and it pushes on your rectum. So it's smashing your poop as it comes by, and it comes out that way. But what they were worried about was the tumor just pushing on it, or had it actually perforated? There's one. So is it invading or is it perforated? And in my case, it looks like it was just, invading. It was pushing up against it, but it hadn't gone through the wall. Because if that happens, then you have, cancer in your rectum, which damn near killed him. But
rectum,
rectum help. I was wondering you guys would pick that up. That's an old joke. We're old guys, so yeah. So, anyways, but that's why I'm so jazzed about this, because like you're saying, your buddy came over and you asked him, you know, but a lot of people would never occur to them to say, how did you know something was going on? So hopefully with this channel and us talking about everything, that someone will pick up, you know, a useful piece of information out of here. So
well, I never heard that before. That's great information. I've never heard that before. Now I'm going to be looking. You know.
Well,
and if it
you do
tastes
anyway,
really bitter,
right? You do anyway, because you want to see how long it takes corn to go through.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah,
that's your next shirt, Mark. Poop watchers.
Check
and
your
if it tastes really bitter, like really bitter, I'm kidding.
check your corn.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
But, I mean, as long as we're on that subject, I'll tell you, as I've gotten older, I never understood why my parents had that little thing of preparation H pads on the back of the toilet. I didn't know what a hemorrhoid was. You know, I started getting older, and Tom, I'm sure, can identify with this because we had the Nuclear Pinecone. But it's like now those are one of my favorite things. And I should have brought one to show you on camera, but I got them at Walmart, and they're called Dude Wipes, and they're in a black pack with green on them, so it doesn't look all frilly and stuff. You know, so you don't.
Wait, back up. Nuclear Pinecone?
Yeah, I was going to ask him about that.
Hemorrhoids.
What happened?
Hemorrhoids.
Well, Tom, he'll tell you he didn't know what a hemorrhoid was either. He does now.
Never had one until radiation, and had massive diarrhea. So I guess what brings them out is, you know, constantly wiping, you know, like sandpaper. And then I broke out, and wow, oh my God. I was walking around my kitchen in a circle in the middle of the night with a paper towel and ice cubes.
There you go.
On the behind and
That bad.
everything.
Yeah.
And then I learned about it, and I asked Mark the next day, he's all, man, do you ever get, and he's all, well, no one ever knows until they've experienced them.
Wow.
The Nuclear Pinecone. They're not good.
There was another little symptom that I had that I asked my doctor about. I said, does this make any sense? Because before the whole prostate cancer diagnosis, I would, you know, I was peeing more at night, and it was obviously very slow stream, low pressure. But then after a while, after emptying my bladder, I noticed I would pass gas. It's like it got out of the way. So that like the bladder or prostate or whatever was pushing on wherever, you know, the gas comes out.
Yep.
And then you relieve that pressure, and all of a sudden you fart. And like every time I peed, I would start farting a lot after I relieved the pressure. And
it's the weirdest thing, because my doctor, every single time I saw my oncologist, Dr. Cox, he would draw a little picture of your rectum and then where the tumor was that was pushing on it, you know, to try and explain it. He loves drawing little pictures, and he draws them on the fold-out sheet, the pull-out sheet on the examination table. Because you never lay on that; you're just sitting on the chair or whatever. But
That's how he passed his medical exams.
there you go. Yeah, did all of his work on the chair there. But yeah, same thing. So it's pushing against your rectum, and it won't let the gas get out. So for me, towards the very end, before I found out I had to get the tube to be able to release myself, I had to assume the position, you know, like going to the bathroom, and I put my hands up on the wall, and I would lean over the toilet so everything was pointing in the right place. And then I'd have to push. Man, I'd be like, ah! And I get a little bit of urine out of there, but then I'd be like, this huge, you know, gas that had been building up in there. And
yeah.
now, and I don't have to run anymore while we're doing this, because I think I had to already this morning. I ran like 5 times while we've been talking, but I went ahead and put the bag on. So with the bag at night while I'm sleeping, I don't have any pressure. The urine just flows out whenever it wants to, so I don't have to get up. I don't have the feeling. But,
Oh yeah.
but oh, you want a tube in your belly? But,
No.
but since there's no pressure, though, sometimes I wake myself up farting. You know, it's like I'll be in that low sleep. You know how you go to REM, you go all the way down, and you come back up again, and I'll be laying there, and I'll be like.
My dog does that.
Who's that?
CPAP keeps me from snoring, but I don't have anything that stops me from farting.
Sometimes
Who's
I feel like
Where's my gun?
Yeah, exactly. Identify yourself.
Sometimes I feel like that CPAP is pumping me full of air, and then by the time I get up in the morning,
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because now every time I think about farting, I think about them getting Tom on the table there and helping him to release his gas. And I'm just like, God, for all the things I've had to endure, my hat is off to you, brother, because they
Yeah.
had to do that to me.
Yeah, twice. They had to degas me on the table.
they
Gas.
use a tube for that.
Huh?
They use
What
a
do they
tube
do? Siphons?
siphon. They just gotta.
They just use a tube, just a tube and stick it up you and they tell you to relax. Just relax.
And that's not the kind of situation I'm going to relax in.
I got a hold up my butt. You expect me to relax?
I know.
Totally unrelated, but by a show of hands, how many guys have had a berry enema?
Oh.
Oh, I'm the only one? Oh, my God. Okay, so real quick, this is how a berry enema works.
Yeah, explain that.
All right, you lay on your side. They have a Sparkletts bottle full of pink fluid on a hose. It has a plastic insert about this long with a ball on the end of it. They introduce that to your rectum while you're laying on your side, and then somebody turns a switch, and the contents of the Sparkletts bottle whoosh, goes up, and you extend. You know, and you can't take anymore. And so they tell you, okay, clench your butt cheeks, and they leave the hose in there, and then they have to x-ray you. So while you're completely full, your lower intestine, upper intestines, everything is full of this stuff, they have you move on the table. So they're like, well, we need you a little more to the left. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna drop it all right here, you know? And so it takes about a half hour. They take all the pictures, and I don't think I spilled a drop, man. I was on that applicator. And then they come over, they go, okay, we're going to take it out now. So she says, relax. I'm like, oh. And so she's like fighting with it, you know, to get it out. And she goes, just relax, Mr. Graves. I'm like, okay. So she pops it out, and then I tighten back up again. So then I got to waddle over to thank God they have a restroom connected to the examining room there where they had the machine. Because otherwise it would have been like that scene from The Right Stuff where all those guys are in the elevator, you know, having to get to the crapper. But you sit down and open up and let it go, and then you're like, God, is it ever going to stop? It just keeps, and you're not doing anything. You know, it's like you're not pushing, you're not trying. It's just whoosh, evacuating. And then the worst part is you're sitting there and like, oh, I'm finally done. Oh, no, I'm not. There are like 5 or 6 of these, you know, to get up and go, oh, no, still not finished. So then, they knock on the door. They go, okay, Mr. Graves. I'm like, what do you want me to say? My internals are all coming out.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I look forward to if you ever have one of those.
Yeah, I did. I didn't recognize the name, but I actually had to have it done. I guess the day of my first exam.
Oh, for the cancer.
Yeah. So that was like, fairly recent. And my wife actually administered it to me. And then, in other words, I had to have my lower intestine had to be clean. And I had to drink, maybe 32 ounces of water before I went to the exam. Because they had, you had to have that balance, empty bowel, not bowel.
Poop chute.
Colon?
Yeah, empty colon and a full bladder. And my wife administered it to me, and no sooner than she stopped, she had done. I think it was not more than a minute. I said, I gotta run to the bathroom. Yeah. And then it all came out. And then I had to do it again the following day.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And the funny thing was, when she administered it to me again, nothing came out. I mean, nothing came out. It was like, I I was on empty. There was nothing in the lower intestines to flush out. So that was weird.
Yeah.
But,
Wait, where'd that go?
exactly. And I do recall eating light, very light.
That was for a prostate-related doctor visit?
Mhm.
Wow, I never had to do that.
Really?
Yeah, for my biopsy, I had to do 2 enemas before I went in.
Oh, okay.
I did before the biopsy. I had to do that.
Yeah.
So you by mouth the formula?
No, it was fleet enemas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what it was called. Fleet enema. I'm corrected. It was called.
Yeah, that was the first time anything had gone past that check valve. And I couldn't. No, I almost couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's how I felt that first week, man. I had so many guys sticking their fingers up my rump. Like, good God.
Tom, you?
Oh, with the fleet enemas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had to do a couple of those. Yeah. They work really fast. It's amazing how fast they work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was amazed, at least for the first one. And then the second one, I was expecting the same experience, but nothing came out. How about you, Jack?
Yeah. Everything came out just like it was supposed to. I was cleaned out.
After surgery, I had a post-surgery ileus. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Uh-uh.
Yeah,
That
you
was-
mentioned it the first time, but what is that again?
It's when your bowels stop moving and
Oh.
you don't go. Everything stops. Like your bowels go to sleep. And they kept coming in every hour, and nurses would be listening to my tummy with a stethoscope, and they wouldn't. You want to hear bubbling and gurgling, but they wouldn't hear anything, and so nothing was moving, and so they had to stop all pain meds because that binds you up, and that really added a lot of pain to the whole process.
Right.
They couldn't give me anything except Tylenol, and it was 3 days, and so it started backing up, and then I started getting nauseous, and I was vomiting. And they couldn't get me to go, so now they're doing everything they can. Roll over, Mr. Schiff, and they suppositories. I don't even know what else they did, but they were trying everything they could do to get me to go to the bathroom. And finally, when it let go, it's like even a fart. They would be proud of me. And I remember I was sitting in there trying to go to the bathroom. I didn't, but I farted, and I yelled, "I farted!" And the nurses all came in happy, celebrating. And now I come home and, months and years later, a year later, I fart and tell my wife, farting is good. That's the nurses.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a fart party for you, huh?
It did.
What was
It
that called? Ilias?
did. Ilias, yeah. ILIAS.
Yeah. When I started the Zytiga, one of the side effects that I did get, thank you all very much, is constipation. And of course, the side effects that you can get are constipation or diarrhea. And of course, I didn't get the diarrhea. I got the constipation. But I jokingly made the comment to a gay friend of mine that I'm so constipated, I wish I was a gay man. It was horrible. And I got that under control from, I started out with just stool softeners, and then it started loosening up. Then I started eating prunes every night and taking fiber. And now I've cut out all of the stool softeners. I just eat prunes in the morning and prunes at night, and it's all I'm more regular than the mailman. It's like,
Oh wow, prunes. Okay, I got that's on my shopping list next. Prunes.
yeah, no, it definitely is the solution.
I've had to be using stool softener, but I'm using it more often than I should. Like the stuff you mix in with your drink.
Yeah.
Right. Metamucil.
Yeah, no, maybe.
Oh, it's probably Colace.
Yeah.
Colon blow.
Oh, something. But if I go a couple days, and the worst part is traveling, and it's like there's it's something psychological about it. I just don't go on the road as much.
Right.
I get home and I haven't gone in a couple days. It's just crazy. But
You
you
know,
get
it's
home.
funny. Yeah, it's
Prunes,
funny. Kelly and I have that thing where we go on a trip, and when you're out of town, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's weird.
You can go for, so our term is, did the eagle land? So finally, and I'm more comfortable now at her mother-in-law's house. At first, It's like you don't want to take a dump in your in-laws' house, you know, and especially there, there's no fans. There's nothing to cover the noise or anything, and so you're trying to let everything out real slow. You're like,
You gotta turn the water on.
yeah, do something. Well, they live in Northern California, so you can't. They don't even flush. They do that if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. So you can't do anything to cover the noise. And they probably wish I still felt that way because I go up there now, I just tear that bathroom apart. And then she has the poopery where you spray it on there first. And I always forget to use that, so she keeps matches in the door.
That's great stuff, man. That's great stuff.
If you remember to use it, I go for the matches. Do that.
I think that works faster.
That'll work.
Yeah, because there's nothing better in the world than poop and sulfur. Except for Kelly gets the Hawaiian Breeze air freshener for the bathroom, so it's like, ooh, Hawaiian poop.
That's funny.
Too funny.
Also, it's nice being here alone. During the day I'm by myself because she's always at work, so I can go in and do whatever I want. Man, I leave the door open. No fan, just whatever. I don't care. But
so I have a question. So Brian just brought up the misshapen, I guess, poop.
The deformed duty.
Anything else that's probably unusual we wouldn't even think about mentioning to the guys, that I know, hey, is your poop misshapen, or anything else that
as far as prostate cancer goes?
Yeah, any signs or whatever?
God, there's so many when you look up online. I mean, there's just pages and pages and pages of things. But the weird part is they don't have to be cancer. They could just be, like I had ED, which, people don't think they got cancer because of that. It's just because you got old or whatever. And then I came up with, what do they call it? Retrograde ejaculation. So I would still have an orgasm, but nothing came out. So
Right.
it was like, poof,
I found that less and less and less was coming out, like a lot less.
Yeah, I was down to nothing.
That was a symptom.
Before that, I had a little blood in the semen. And then as time went on, I had nothing, which, silver lining, I never have to utter the phrase, honey, can you get me a towel? So there's always a good point to everything. But if you look those up online, it also says that it might, not be cancer. It's not necessarily. So with PC, it looks like it's hit or miss. It could be, might not. So that's why we always say, don't fear the finger. Go and get your PSA checked. When you hit a certain age, make sure they're on top of it. Your doctor's checking you for it.
Right.
Yes, 2 years ago, I had the doctor check me with his finger, and he says it's fine. So I skip a year, and then I go this year, and she didn't even bother to, put her finger up there. She says it's just time, as far as my age, to get your PSA check.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I did find out it was 6.2 or something like that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So I had it checked, and then, she says, okay, it's time to visit a doctor because your PSA is high. Because I guess you had mentioned it's 0 through 5, and if it goes above that, then, something to be checked.
Yeah, it's 0 through 4.
0 through 4, and so when I had it checked. I'm sorry. I went to the urologist, and he says, "Yeah, you know what? I fall into the categories. I have a matrix, I guess. That my age, my ethnicity, family history. I had 2 uncles on my mom's side that had prostate cancer. They're both alive. And they're in their mid-70s, early 80s, and he says, I highly recommend you get it done. And I said, okay, so kind of forced my hand because my wife's on my case and now my doctor's on my case. Okay, I'll get it done. So then I had that test, which, compared to the biopsy, compared to you guys, mine was mild, although it hurt like the dickens. And I paid for it that night because I couldn't urinate. Well, I actually didn't even go through the night. I had this procedure done in the morning. By the afternoon, I was hurting, man. I said, Doc, you got to do something. He says, come back to the office and we'll put in a catheter. And I did. And I still had a hard time peeing without going through torture. I mean, I was like, I can't even describe it. It gives me goosebumps just to describe what I went through. And then eventually the spasms subsided and I started peeing. And then they left it in for about a day and a half, maybe 2 days. I forget the time. And then I had a little bit of spasm that hurt, but nothing like with the catheter in me. And so when I go to the doctor's office to get it pulled out, the nurse tells me, okay, I'm going to take it out. Whatever God you know, pray and all and like that. And I'm looking at her, I was like, what?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so she goes, I got this bag here. I'm going to squeeze it. And when you think it's too much, you let me know. As soon as she did that, I go like, oh, it's too much. And as soon as I said that, she pulled out the plug. Pull the plug. And I was like, she had to run and get a stretch out and get a bedpan because that's how much was in there.
Jeez.
Wow.
I was happy. Oh my goodness, I was happy that was
a very relieving feeling.
Oh goodness.
I was.
What a relief it was. Yeah, for sure. But,
speaking of don't fear the finger, they say that's my urologist told me. She said I can only feel part of your prostate, so there could be something on the other side. So really, it doesn't rule anything out. All it does is if I do feel something, then there's something there. If I don't, it just means part of your prostate doesn't have anything. And then I can also tell how big it is. She said the gold standard is well, first with PSA checks, and you got to go, it's like how much it goes up in a certain period of time. So mine finally started, and then the biopsy. And I said, can't you do it with an MRI? She goes, no, if we see something in an MRI, then we know it's there. But if we don't, that just means we don't know, and we're back to where we were. Because it may or may not see it. So I was doing everything I could to get out of that biopsy, and I didn't. So we wound up doing it, and it hurt, and it wasn't fun. And then afterwards, it hurt for a while on the bumpy ride home. Holy cow! And then, but that's where they caught it, and I guess that's the gold standard of telling if you have prostate cancer or not. So don't fear that either. The leading up to it was the worst part. Anticipating what was going to happen. The whole thing is a pretty short procedure, but then when they find it, then you know for sure. Then you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, I cried when I heard Mark's story about they didn't have enough. What it was?
Oh, they didn't have enough room to get the lidocaine back on the nerve.
And I was like,
Yeah, because mine was the same thing that, when you stick it up there, because Brian was saying they can't get to the back of it. So I had to deal with that too, the dark side of the moon. It's supposed to be like the size of a walnut and smooth. And mine evidently was like an orange and it's all bumpy and everything. So, and it ended up being that it got so progressive and so fast that just between the first time that they checked it and the last time they checked it before I got the radiation, there was no more prostate. It had just eaten it completely. So now all I have is the tumor, and hopefully now it's a dead tumor sitting in there. But it has gotten smaller because, like I said, it poops better now. So good thing on that.
Chance of that shrinking down to nothing?
Wouldn't that be awesome? The only thing is my urethra is in the middle of it, so it's got a hole on that and it's clamped, and I can't get anything through it because I have the tube and I can plug the tube, and then when I try to urinate, when I push and push and push to urinate, it just simply comes out around the edges of the tube. You know, it just shoots out of there. So at this point, but I'm going to talk to Tom's guy as soon as I get the thumbs up from my doctor and says, hey, we're done. You know, this is as much as we can do to it. It's either dead or we've got it corralled. And but the cool thing is, Kelly's been talking a lot about that lately. And she goes, so you're going to go see Tom's doctor? So maybe, you know, maybe she would like to see the penis working again as much as I would like to see it working again.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
That would be awesome. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. And then to everybody that's watching, we're going to set up a time and do a video tomorrow. So it'll be Friday. And it was weird because it would be in our first time as a Friday 5, but it just worked out today that we got the 5 done. So we're going to set the time up for that. We'll get it ready to go and record. And as always, thank you so much for being here, guys. Jack, are you eating?
Mm-mm.
Did you bring enough for everybody?
You got caught, buddy. You got caught.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you again for all the prayers and the positive thoughts and the juju and everything you guys are sending our ways. We really appreciate it. If you would continue to keep the prayers going for my buddy on the Facebook group. Hopefully he'll, at some point, you know, maybe he'll want to talk to us. Oh, yeah. And we got our new, I can't bend my arm that way. But anyways, those are the new hands. Yep, and those are heading your way. Indio, we're going to send these out to you. Also, too, when we finish the video, I'll tell you about the T-shirts and stuff.
Good.
So, anyways, it's Thursday, so have a great one, and we will see you guys Friday. So, thanks, guys.
Auf Wiedersehen.